Ashley, Scrappy Nerd, and I'm back today with a layout for Scraplift Crafternoon, and it's where a bunch of my crafty peeps get together and we scraplift an amazing layout from an amazing creator. And this week we are scraplifting Allie, and you saw her layout at the top of the video, and I just loved all of the circles. And us as a group, we love a good circle layout, so we always have a bunch, but this one's fun because it had multiple little ones. And so I decided to use this Simple Stories, Simple Vintage Woodlands page kit that I have. And so it has like the simple, or the Vintage Woodlands chipboard pieces, and it has some die cuts and the bits and pieces. And I had got this, and I had never purchased a page kit, and I don't really like that it's flat. So you can see like it has this kind of wood grain on top, and it gives you instructions how to make the layout. But yeah, I didn't like that it wasn't layered. So I knew I was going to do something else with it. And I thought that Allie's layout would be perfect because I could cut out all the circles from all of these bits of the paper that are, flat in just one piece, but I could arrange it to get all the circles. And so I had this circle cutter, and I wanted to cut the big circle for the pictures. And I actually probably should have cut it a little bit bigger than I did, but I cut the center out that had the kind of newspapery things to it. And then I wanted to add 2 layers of like a mat for it. So I just pulled in some of my plain cardstock of a green color and a brown color. And then I cut those just the next level up from this thing. And I like this, that it cuts like a good circle, but it's really hard to make it move. And that little piece that looks like one of those sorry game pieces, it doesn't really move the circle, so I have to use the actual blade to move it, and that's a little hard because it's tiny. So I would say it's not my favorite tool that I have, so I don't use it a lot. And so but I knew that I needed a lot of circles. And I also pulled in, you saw my Sizzix circle dies, because I will cut a lot of circles, and you'll see that in a minute. And I will distress all the edges of all the circles that I cut. But in Allie's layout, she had stitching on her circle, and so I decided I wanted to do stitching on my layout, and I don't normally do stitching. So thank you, Allie, for that inspiration. But so I just took a scrap piece of paper. It's actually one of the pieces I do my mixed media on. You can see all the crap on it. And I cut it just one circle smaller than the one that I cut, so I could trace an even circle on the back side. And then I pull in my little stitching tool that I have here, and I just use it because it has little holes to poke the holes, and I just follow the line that I traced so that my stitching is even, well, as even as it can be in the circle, around the circle. Since it's not a straight line, I wasn't sure how this was going to work, but it actually worked pretty good. And so I don't make you watch all the stitching, but I had pulled in a green floss that I have, and I stitched a straight stitch all around, and then I stitched so that it went around the edge. And I really kind of like how that turned out. It took me a little while, but it was worth it. And so I also, you see my pile of circles that I used all those die cuts to cut the bits out of all the pieces of paper that I had, and the little pull apart cards that were in the little kit and everything. I just cut a bunch of circles, and I pulled in that Nuvo sparkle spray in the apple spritzer color, and I sprinkled it on the background. And I don't think that I showed it in the beginning, but I just pulled in this wood grain paper from my stash as a background, because again, like the papers that came with the little kit, they weren't plain papers. They had already set up the background, and it was flat, and I didn't like that. So I pulled in the wood grain to be my backer paper. And then this is where I realized I probably should have cut my circle a little bit bigger because my 2 photos cover up all this stitching that I did. And so I think Allie's was a little bit smaller photos and a bigger circle. So you got to see more of her stitching. But I also will not make you watch me kind of put all these circles around because, as you know, that took me forever and trying to figure out how I wanted them laid out. And I cut some of my circles, like open circles like this one here, because I thought that would be fun to have some that looked like frames around the larger circle as well. And so, like I said, I did edge distress all of the circles and inked them with that rustic wilderness just to help kind of differentiate them from each other. And this took entirely way too long for me to get all of my circles where I wanted them. But while I'm doing that, make sure that you guys check out Allie's Instagram page. All of the information is going to be below. She has beautiful layouts on her page, as well as all my crafty peeps that also scrap lifted Allie today. They will do amazing things, I'm sure. Like I said, we love a good circle layout. And thank you to everyone that has liked and subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit those buttons below. I'd love to have you. And I got all these circles figured out, and I will put the pictures on there kind of cockeyed so that you can see some of my stitching, but you don't see a lot of it. I did all this stitching work on the circle and then I covered up, which always happens and why I don't usually do a lot of stitching. But these are pictures of my husband. We were in the Dominican Republic we were doing the hiking excursion from the cruise ship. And so these are just pictures of him. We were going to the waterfall, so that's why he has like a life vest on. And he just cracks me up. So I thought this would be a really fun layout for these pictures because he's a kook. But I put in the little ephemera bits. I pulled in this just flower. I thought this would be kind of fun to have some of the woodlands stuff peeking through. I did pull in the Minte woodland ephemera bits, and I used just the circle that says explore more and the one that says positive attitude. Those will come from that Minte collection. But that's all that I used from that. And I did pull in those film strips, are the 49 Market Spice film strips. I have so many of them, and so anytime I can throw a film strip on a layout, I do, so I can get those used up. But like I said, I like putting the little florals kind of mixed in with the circles because, you know, I love more is more, and so I definitely packed it into this layout, but I love how it turned out. And my title says Explore Out in Nature, and that was from the page kit, the little chipboard elements from that. So I thought that worked perfectly. And of course it covered up more of my stitching that was below. But again, I really like how that worked out. And oh, here's those circles from that Minte collection. And I did also pull in, I had some green enamel dots, and I think those came in like my 49 Market mystery box because it didn't have any like packaging or anything with it to tell me where I got it. But they had some larger circles, so you'll see in a minute that I will put some little ones around the hearts that I have, and then I'll just put some of the larger ones mixed in with the mixed in with the circles. And I think that just kind of looked cute, just meandering in among the circles there. And of course there was a butterfly, so I had to put a butterfly there. But that's gonna be the layout, guys. It's a cute layout. Like I said, make sure you check out Allie's Instagram. Make sure you check out all of my crafty peeps who also scrap lifted her and did amazing layouts. And so I hope everyone has a great day. Bye.